Hello everybody and welcome to this video tutorial explaining the new Align tool in Shapr3D. We will look at 4 scenes, each showing a different use case scenario where the new Align tool will be very useful to effortless position objects of various shape complexities. Great, let's get started with our first exercise scene. Here we have a hexagon container with the lid, rotate it 2 times and put next to it. Now let's see how we can use the align command to bring this lid directly where we want. I can select the target face, then from the menu on the left select align and zoom out a little bit and select the target face. And that's it. As you can see, this align command rotated the lid 2 times and position it correctly. Let's do this one more time. We could also go to transform, select align, then select the face and the target face. There we are. Very good. So you can see Shapr actually, the align command rotates it 1 time this way, 1 time this way, and then it also puts it actually onto the object. So quite a complex task. Besides aligning only a face, we can also align edges. To do this, I can select the edge I would like to align, select align, and then select the target edge. Now I could go ahead and, for example, rotate this and see how the hinge could work. And that is how easy the align command works in Shapr3D. Here we have all the parts for a side stand, and I will show you how we can use the align command to put this into an assembly. We will start with the legs. The interesting twist I'm throwing into the scene is that some edges are rounded and some edges are not. And that possesses a little tricky aspect to work around, and I will show you how easily we actually can do this. I would like this face to be aligned under the bottom part there. So I will select this face, go to align, and then select the face there. But when you see it is centered, well, I could move this over, but I don't really know how much I have to move, so this is not really ideal. However, I have, instead of a face, I have an edge, and I can select the edge, go to align, and select this edge. Very good. So the edges are aligned. Now I can rotate this. You see how we have a coplanar face. The rotation arrow from green switches to violet. Basically, this tells us this is perfectly aligned. The top face of my leg and the bottom face of this tabletop are parallel. Very good. Now when we look from the side, there we can see there is a tiny overhang. And this is not really a big problem. This is a 1 mm fillet. All this means we select the whole object and move it over by 1 mm. That's it. Very easy. Now let's take a look at the other element. I will select this edge. I would like to align it to the edge there. And you see this edge has a midpoint. So with my pencil, I can drag from the midpoint, and then you see various snapping points there. Very good. Okay, Also there it is rotated again. I don't want to rotate this by hand. So instead of maybe the edge, we can also select the face. Let's see what happens when we use the align command now. Very good. Let's zoom in first. You see we have a center point, a top and a bottom point. So I can actually now say align. Let me rotate this to here. I can align the lower edge, which also would be the outer edge, to the bottom part of this face. And you see, if you pay attention to the align plane, it rotates. And now I go right to the midpoint of this edge, release my pencil. There we are. How awesome is that? Perfectly positioned, centered. We don't need to rotate it. Just move this in by 1 millimeter. Very good. Now, how can we do this frame? The frame is sharp, it has no edges, and our target surface is rounded. So all we can do here is move the frame to an edge on the fillet and then move it by the amount of the fillet. Very good. So we select this face, go to align, and I will select this bottom part. You see also there's a start align plane on the left side, and then I go to my target surface, go to this endpoint. There we are. Very good. 1 millimeter over. And I can move this up as much as I would like to. Very good. Now let's see how we can do this. So we go align and snap. Very good. We can also flip it or rotate it. We can select the edge and say align to there. So that works too. Very good. And maybe move it down 4 millimeters to have a little bit of an offset. Very nice. And to position those elements pretty much is the same, but because we have also here fillets, that makes it a little bit easier. But because these objects are very far away, I will select them and move them a little bit closer. There and there. Very good. This one I move even a tick closer, a little bit to there, a little bit to there. Then I zoom in. And the trick here now is to work kind of like from this view. So I can clearly see this and this face. Because now, select this face, go to align, select this point and align it to there. Very good. When we get really close, and it's even easier to see. There. And that's it. There's our assembly, perfectly aligned. In this scene, we have a leg, a bracket, a pillow, and a shell. And I will show you how we can put 4 legs over each socket. There's also a particular process or order we should follow now. And that is basically the bracket goes first onto the socket, and then the leg will go onto the bracket. So let's do this. We take a look first actually at our three objects. We can see some similarities. The bracket and the socket, they have two rings. They can be aligned. Perfect. And the leg, as well as the bracket, they have two flat areas. Those can be aligned. Good. We will select the correct edge first. This is actually this edge on the bracket. Then left select align, select our target edge, and then we can just rotate it 45 degrees. Next to the 45 degrees on the left side, you see there's also a flip button. So you understand what this one does. Click done. Now the leg we want to move to the bracket, so we have to select this leg face, go to align, and let's zoom in a little bit. You see there are 4 white corner points. Even while this is a rectangle that is or has 2 rounded edges, Shapr understands where are reference geometry elements. So these corner points, we have 2 midpoints on an edge and a center point at the face. This will be very useful because now all we need to do is select this face. Very good. And we see the alignment is 90 degrees off, not a big problem. We will simply rotate it. And the moment we get close to 90, you see actually it will snap to it. How wonderful is this? So this is perfectly positioned. Since we have a vertical axis, all we need to do now is select the bracket and the leg. And we can then go to rotate around axis. Select the axis, turn on copy, and start rotating in 90-degree steps. One more time. And this time 180. Let's take a peek from the bottom. There you see everything perfectly lines up. And that is how easy it is to align rather actually irregular shapes onto each other with precision. What you see here are all the various parts for a garlic press. And I will show you the various ways how we can use the align tool and the best process to put all these pieces together. Let's get the easier parts worked off. I would like this to be aligned into the socket. We take a look. We have 2 circular faces that can be perfectly aligned. Great. So let's select this face, go to align, then we will select the matching face, select it, and there we are. Very good. Easy. Now I would like to align this to here. So we have 2 openings, but here only we have 1 opening. So how does this work? Well, the problem is, if we take a look from the right, there's even a tiny gap in between. So we can't actually align it by saying, well, this edge align to this edge. Oh, we can, but as you will see, it is a little bit off. We then would have to move this one down. Now this is a very cleanly and symmetrically modeled design. Here you can see the distance is just 0.1 millimeter. Now this is not good practice. How can we do this? Well, the trick is in my axis here. So this joint, here I will select this outer ring, go to align, and then I will select my edge here, and it will align it. And this cylinder is modeled to perfectly go from this face to this face. I will hide this basket right now because the next thing is pretty cool. Now I can align this part of the handle by selecting this cylinder and say, please align this on this cylinder. Because the cylinders are straight, so it's not a cone, as you can see, it centers cylinder on cylinder. Fantastic. We can also do the same, since we took a look at cylinder by cylinder, position the basket in there. So we select this, align to there. Suck. And it moved it down a little bit too much. So just be a little bit careful. So you see here in this case, I have to move this up a tick. But what is interesting, there is also a gap between them. So you see it centered actually this perfectly onto it. So one question would be is, since we could easily move this to where I need it to be, is there maybe a better way to align this? For example, yes, there is. Namely, we can select this ring and say align onto this ring. But because now one is a ring and one is not a ring, that doesn't work, as you see. So don't worry. That's the reason why then we can switch to the edge, because we have a clean ring here too. There. Perfect. You see? Perfectly lined up. Now, you see here the stamp is offset. There, same deal. Select this, go to align, select this, and there is the piece. Awesome. Now, we can select this face again. We can also select this edge, align to this edge. Oh, and in case it does not work, then always try and see if we have an alternative geometry we could use. There, it works. Very nice. Then the only elements left would be our hinge, and we can also see, well, my stamp is actually there where it should be. Well, it's not really at the right position, so let's move this away. And here we will do the same trick as before. So I will select my edge here, go to align, select this, and just to show you how amazing this align tool works, on purpose I rotate this a little bit. Then we select this, go to align, and select our target. Very good. Let's rotate this. So there you see, now we need to make sure that, for example, this is correctly rotated. This is then where, when having various, how could I say that, steps will come in very handy and necessary. So I will select simply this face and say align to here. So now this is centered, but it's actually vertically not centered. And that's not a big deal, because now I can simply go back, since this is now rotated correctly. It's just not z-axis correctly positioned. Then select this, go to align, and select this one. There we are. Perfect. And this is how easily we can then use the align command to put a nice looking garlic press together only with few mouse clicks.